New this morning, a close call for a pilot and his young daughter. What witnesses say they saw when that plane went down. Coming up.
Plus, construction wraps up this morning at a busy intersection in Albuquerque. The improvements you could see this morning just ahead. Also this.
This is probably the scariest thing that's ever happened to me, for sure.
Living in fear, why people in one Albuquerque neighborhood say they're on edge this morning, and why APD says they didn't take immediate action.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to KRQE News 13 this morning. I'm Krista Gutierrez.
I'm Adam Atchison. 6 o'clock, Monday, July 11th. Good to have you with us. Good to have you back.
Thank you. It's nice to be back. And Kristen Curry's still talking about hot temperatures.
Nothing changed.
Are you excited to be back?
I left for a month and a half, and you're still talking warm temperatures.
It's true. I
It's
mean, we had to
never
teach her how to read prompter again this morning. She was like, what?
What do I do again? What does this job entail?
T-H-E is...
Tahi? No, that's the. I got it.
No. Welcome back, sister. We are
Thanks.
excited to have you. Let's go ahead and jump into that Monday forecast, because at this point, the Doppler radar is totally clear out there. Your morning commute looks great across the state. Our temperatures this morning in the 50s and some 40s up there in southern Colorado, but the rest of us pushing 60s and 70s right now, 73 in Albuquerque. We're talking 50s along I-40 West. Hourly forecast. How about another round of 90s today? That's exactly what we have in store. Looking at a high temperature of about 99 degrees today. Likely to get closer to 100 or better the farther to the south and east you are. And as far as the overall setup goes, unfortunately, it's the high fire danger that we're going to be talking about today as our gusty westerly winds return to the state. So I'll break down your Monday forecast as well as that brand new 7-day coming up here in just about 15 minutes.
And this morning, neighbors in one northeast Albuquerque area are still on edge after they say a man shot several rounds at their homes this weekend. People who live near Tramway and Copper say their neighbor started shooting a gun early Saturday morning. Then, according to police, neighbors say it happened once again Saturday night around 10 o'clock. APD says officers did respond, but when they arrived, the shooting had stopped, and the neighbor with the gun had gone back inside his home. He was not arrested, and that's left neighbors worried.
It's the feeling that you don't know how to protect your family. And when you're calling APD and they won't protect your family, you have nowhere to turn.
So APD says because it was a misdemeanor to fire a gun like that, it wasn't worth calling in the SWAT team to confront him. Officers say the shooter will receive a summons and they will not release his name until then. However, KRQE did learn someone with the same birth date and information will soon be arraigned for a similar incident that happened last year.
2 minutes past the hour, firefighters continue their investigation into a small fire near homes just outside of Albuquerque. Firefighters contained a 1-acre blaze that started yesterday afternoon near Carnwell near Herrera Road, just south of I-40. Crews from Bernalillo County, Albuquerque, and the State Forestry Division were on scene. Before firefighters arrived, neighbors got involved, though, by grabbing hoses and watering down their own property.
Being down inside of a valley is a huge concern for fire spread. So quick attack was in order.
And that quick attack worked with 50 firefighters on scene. No property was actually damaged from the flames, but officials say they're unsure how it started today.
This morning, a man with a lengthy criminal history who's accused of stealing another man's truck is waking up in the jail's hospital. 22-year-old Joshua Ortega is facing theft charges and aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. That's because APD says Ortega stole Christopher Martinez's truck last week. Police say Martinez later tracked down Ortega and confronted him with a gun, saying he feared for his life, and that's when he shot the car theft suspect. This weekend, Ortega appeared in court where a judge learned about 3 other felony arrests. APD says it's no surprise.
When you talk to our auto theft guys, they know these guys over and over and over. He should still be in jail, but he's not. We keep catching them, they keep getting released.
As for Martinez, the car owner who police say shot Ortega, he was arrested and charged. He is out on bond this morning.
Let's turn to a live look at 4th and Montana this early hour. You can see some crews just wrapping up road work, moving some of the orange cones that they had out at that intersection over the weekend. Detours were in place there at 4th and Montana while crews performed some work. It was part of a project that fixed the road from Camino Español to Douglas MacArthur. The intersection opened around 3 this morning. And I-40 westbound over University Boulevard is also now open again after crews spent the weekend applying an epoxy overlay on the bridge. Crews closed several lanes of I-40 over University and the westbound on-ramp from Carlisle. More construction is in the works for this weekend. You got details on that on the KRQE News app right now.
On to news happening now. APD is asking for your help this morning to track down a shoplifter who they say pulled the knife on a Walmart worker. It happened yesterday afternoon just before 2 at the Walmart at Wyoming and Manal. The incident was captured on the store's surveillance cameras. Police say the woman you see here was trying to steal a $40 set of sheets when an employee confronted her. That's when they say the woman pulled the knife on that employee.
She brought the knife to a petty misdemeanor shoplifting, so she was prepared. When they went to go hands-on with her, she obviously armed herself with a knife and she made that motion to come backwards.
So the woman did get away, but if you have any information about her, you're asked to call APD.
An Albuquerque man is facing assault charges this morning after police say he held his girlfriend captive in his car. According to the criminal complaint, Isaac Trujillo was driving erratically, refusing to let his girlfriend out of his Mustang. His girlfriend's mother reportedly tried to block Trujillo with her own car. Police say Trujillo then rammed her car repeatedly. He was arrested and accused of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon.
2 Alabama men are facing felony charges this morning after firefighters say they started this fire that forced 2,000 people to leave their homes. As of this morning, that blaze, dubbed the Cold Springs Fire, remains at 0% containment. It's burned just over 500 acres so far. It broke out near Nederland on Saturday. Authorities say 3 homes have been lost because of this fire. This morning, the Boulder County Sheriff's Office says it is expecting that number to grow. As of Sunday night, 250 firefighters were on the scene fighting the fire. Investigators say the 2 men facing charges did not put out their campfire correctly.
Developing today, Aerosmith guitarist Joe Perry is recovering after reportedly falling ill during a concert in New York last night. According to the New York Times, Perry was performing with supergroup Hollywood Vampires. His bandmates include singer Alice Cooper and actor Johnny Depp. Fans told the newspaper that Perry appeared out of sorts, then left the stage. He was taken to a nearby hospital to be checked out.
A father and his 9-year-old daughter are recovering this morning following a small plane crash in Florida. Take a look at this video. It happened Friday night. The single-engine plane went down into the lake just west of Orlando. The video was taken by 2 fishermen who immediately called 911. Then they rushed over there to pull them to safety. Shortly before impact, the pilot said they were having engine problems. Both the pilot and his 9-year-old daughter were hospitalized. Their conditions are not known at this time.
Frightening for them. 607, an amazing rescue caught on camera, but it took place at an unusual place. Watch here as inmates in Texas burst out of a courthouse holding room to help a corrections officer who fell ill. They tried to shake that officer awake and then tried to use his radio to call for help. The officer suffered a medical episode and was not breathing and was without a pulse. He did eventually stabilize, and the inmates who helped to save his life were facing felony charges. Wow. Getting applause for helping step in a tough situation, though.
Absolutely. Good for them.
Just can't wrap my mind around it. It's just so unreal.
New details following the deaths of 5 Texas officers. This as protests against police spark overnight. We're following breaking overnight news this morning.
Also, another option for local travelers, the new place to get your passport in the metro.
And theft charges. 5 people accused of stealing vehicles, and it's all caught on video. A couple of the suspects might surprise you.
Good morning, everybody. 6:30 here on KRQE News 13 this morning. I'm Adam Atchison.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Krista Gutierrez. Thanks so much for joining us on this Monday, July 11th.
We're going to get to the top stories here in a second, but first we have to say welcome back to Crystal.
Well, thank you. It's good to be back.
And congrats on your new baby.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. She's doing well?
She's doing well. I have to say I'm used to not sleeping at night still.
Yeah, I'll bet.
Kristen, how are you doing this morning?
Just peachy.
Are you excited that I'm back?
Let's get to work. I
knew that was coming.
Of course I'm excited
I
to
set
have
myself
you
up
back.
for that.
No, we missed you. It's the longest 6 weeks of our lives, okay? All right, let's get started with a look at this current 73 degrees with winds out of the southwest about 8 miles per hour. Hey, our numbers across the board, most of us are pushing 60s and 70s. We're in the 40s up in Alamo, so that is a cold spot, but we'll quickly jump back to the 50s here as the sun comes up and we start that daytime heating. We won't stop the warm up till we get back into the upper 90s here in Albuquerque, likely to top out near 100 here in Albuquerque again today. We hit the century mark yesterday downtown. it's going to be another scorcher. But unfortunately, the winds come back, and high fire danger will be our top concern as we kick off the new work week. So I'll break down the wind speeds, your neighborhood numbers, as well as that brand new 7-day forecast coming up here in just about 15 minutes.
Thanks so much, Kristen. And we do start with that breaking overnight news. Just hours ago, more arrests were made, this time in Louisiana, after clashes between protesters and police turned violent.
Officers in riot gear kept those protesters from entering Interstate 110 in Baton Rouge. Since Friday, more than 160 people were arrested during the weekend protests that sparked after the deaths of 2 black men by police in Louisiana and Minnesota. And
in Atlanta, things also got tense as hundreds of protesters took to the streets for a 4th straight night yesterday. Some protesters shouted insults at officers, but police did make a few arrests. However, the event was mostly without incident. In California, a freeway there will likely be back open to traffic this morning after hundreds of protesters blocked traffic on several roads. No reports of any violence in that incident, but in all, at least 400 people were arrested over the weekend in several cities across the nation, all in protests over shootings by police. And parts of downtown Dallas remain closed this morning as authorities continue investigating last week's deadly ambush on police officers. Dallas police say the gunman, Micah Johnson, had a bigger attack in mind. They're calling last week's incident, in which 5 officers died, a crime of opportunity.
We're convinced that this suspect had other plans and thought that what he was doing was righteous.
And new details this morning. The city's police chief revealed the gunman used his own blood to write RB on a wall inside the building where he was killed after negotiations failed. The chief also defended his department's use of a robot bomb to kill the gunman, saying if they had not done so, Johnson would have killed more officers. As the investigation in Dallas continues this morning, the city is preparing for a high-profile visit. The president will travel to Dallas tomorrow. He's scheduled to meet privately with the families of the slain police officers. A funeral for Michael Smith, one of the 5 police officers killed, is scheduled for Wednesday this week. And in Albuquerque this morning, APD officers showing up for work will likely see a big show of support after volunteers went the extra mile over the weekend.
They're human. They hurt. They have feelings. And yeah, and we want to come alongside and let them know that they don't stand alone.
APD's main station in downtown Albuquerque was decorated with thank you signs yesterday morning. Law enforcement support group Stand True for Blue collected the signs. They say it's just a small way to give thanks to the men and women who keep our community safe. And remember, our coverage of the police shootings in Dallas continues on air and online. You can also find the latest on the go using our KRQE News app. Time now 6:35, happening now. 5 people, including 2 juveniles, are facing felony charges this morning after APD says they tried making off with a bait truck. That all started about 6 yesterday morning at an apartment complex near Indian School in northwest Albuquerque. This is one of the accused thieves, 31-year-old Angel Aldorete. Video shows him breaking into the truck and stealing it. Police say after they disabled the vehicle, the alleged thieves hopped out and into another stolen truck.
That truck ended up on Indian School, an apartment complex. We went to initiate a car stop, and the truck reversed into the undercover detective, striking his vehicle, hitting him, committing a battery.
And police say that truck eventually hit a pole. The 4 theft suspects were taken into custody immediately, but police say one ran into a nearby apartment and refused to leave. That's when the SWAT team was called in. The 5th suspect eventually came out and was arrested. No word this morning on all of those people's names. Starting today, New Mexicans now have another option when getting their passports. When they open up this morning, the Bernalillo County Clerk's Office will now accept new passport applications from the public. With heavy demand for passport services in the metro area, the U.S. State Department has now assigned the Clerk's Office as a passport acceptance facility. For more information on getting your passport at the Bernalillo County Clerk's Office, just go to the KRQE News app. On to news happening now. The TSA and American Airlines are teaming up to install new screening technology to make travel faster. The new scanners will allow travelers to leave liquids, gels, even aerosols in their carry-on bags when going through security. According to the TSA, the changes will increase security effectiveness.
while cutting down the time people spend in line by about 30%. A pilot program set to begin in Phoenix this fall. If it is successful, it could be implemented in other airports by 2017.
A new group is on the job in the South Valley this morning, working to help New Mexicans get jobs while improving communication in healthcare. Valley Community Interpreters trains telephonic interpreters for the medical field, and they just had their first graduating class of 16 students. That organization says it created the training program because of the demand for Spanish medical interpreters and a need for jobs in New Mexico.
Why hasn't anybody put these two things together and build a strong, well-trained workforce that will be attractive for the industry to come to the state?
And Portal also says down the line, Valley Community Interpreters wants to have their own call center with the trainees in the community.
Turn out to business news today. Honda says it will stop making its CRZ hybrid. This after the two-seater sold just 1,200 units in the first half of the year. Low gas prices have hurt demand for hybrid cars, but the CRZ also faced criticism that it wasn't as sporty as promised or as fuel efficient as competitors.
New on this Monday morning, the childhood habits of thumb sucking or nail biting might not be so bad for kids' health after all. A study published in the journal Pediatrics shows that children who bite their nails and suck their thumbs are about 1/3 less likely to develop certain allergies. That included, according to their research, allergies to cats, dogs, grass, and house dust mites. Researchers said some were reduced significantly. While researchers found decreases in the risk for certain allergies, they did not find an association with hay fever or asthma. So those things, it appears, are not related. But you know, your mom or your grandma said, don't bite your nails or get your thumb out of your mouth. Apparently it's okay.
Apparently they may have been wrong. I'm really stunned by this development. Isn't that
Maybe they pick
totally
up germs
weird.
from it? I don't know, and it helps with allergies. Who knows?
I guess. I think that's why I have a lot of allergies. I'm allergic to everything.
Oh man.